you see him give the 100% all the time. And that's the minimum I ask for of Man United players. And that's the minimum that Man United fans ask for. So we can have all the tactics in the world, all the individual quality in the world. But if these players aren't willing to put in the effort at the minimum, especially when you're having a bad game, then you shouldn't be at the club. We played Everton at Goodison Park on Sunday, and I've been racking my brain. I'm trying to just remember. I'm trying to think. Have I seen a worse performance from Man United in the Premier League since Fergie left? And I'm sure there would have been during Fergie. He was there so long, there had to be. And you can think of. And I wouldn't even just look at the score lines, because you can even say, "Oh, Man City 6-1." I wouldn't even class that in there. Man City, where we lost at home to Man City under David Moyes 3-0, that was a terrible performance. One could argue it's Man City, but at that point it was still Man United. We were still the champions of England, so there was even that much more expectations. I've seen some bad performances under Louis van Gaal. I've seen some bad performances under Jose Mourinho, especially in Europe, in the Champions League, Sevilla at home. But from minute 1 to minute 90, I don't think there's been a worse. Like, we offered nothing in that game. Nothing. We had one shot on target, if to my recollection, which was late in the game through Anthony Martial. And to a man, we were terrible. From back to front, and that's not. It's not usually it's like, a little. Someone did something there, and I'm not saying everyone dropped a 0 out of 10, but nobody could leave that game, for me, with their head held high, because collectively it was a shambles. First goal, I think there's a few long throws before that goal happened. At what point did you say, "All right, guys, they're trying this, let's do this, let's try something different, let me go to their post, you make sure the man don't get the run on you"? The ball comes in, Smalling misses his, the ball goes over it, so he misses his header. I think it's Calvert-Lewin gets in between Smalling and Pogba, who's just kind of got his hand on Calvert-Lewin's back, not jumping, not trying to put him off for it in any meaningful way. He flicks on Richarlison, overhead kick into the goal, 1-0. From then it was rough, because it was like everyone are playing better, and then they've got a goal. But you think, all right, it's only 1-0. You can, if time goes on, you can improve the performance and maybe get a. It was always going to be a tough game, but you think you can maybe get something out of it. Sigurdsson picks up the ball. The man turns and runs towards the goal. Matic is with him for about a second, drops off about 5 yards, and at no point does he decide to close him down. Now I'm looking at it like, we know Sigurdsson likes a shot. Yeah. We know he's got this ability. You must know that he's going to take a shot and he's got the quality, but you just stand off him. Take a shot, good power, decent direction. The hair, I don't know if he just didn't expect the shot, saw it late. There's no one in front of him, by the way. Yeah. Saw it late, or just completely just reacted late, because it's not like he wasn't going one direction. He wasn't wrong-footed. He might have been flat-footed. Ball went past him. If he had moved quicker, he would have saved it, because it wasn't right in the corner. So he has to take some blame. But Matic is standing there and just allowed him to shoot. I didn't understand why Matic started, first and foremost. I understand Tommy had a tough game at the Nou Camp, but he's been very good in all his games that he's played under Solskjaer. So I know we've got 2 games in a week, but let's be realistic. It's more likely to get points away at Everton than it is even at home to Man City. So you got to pick and choose. Really, at this stage, you got to pick and choose. You know what? If so-and-so's tired, you play him in this game. You take it. You don't play him in another game. Granted, if Matic plays against Man City, we will get completely overrun and absolutely annihilated. But then the way we're playing might happen anyway. Anyway, 2-0. It's 2-0 at half time. Who scores the third goal? Digne from a corner. Ball comes out, left foot shot. De Gea can't see anything, gone straight past him. 4-0, Walcott off the bench. Walcott scored like 2 goals this season or something like that. Yeah, put through.
Backs, man, for you.
And slots in 4-0. And it was just a poor performance. And the result is one thing. And those results can actually happen in football. I think there's probably not a team who hasn't had a result like that. Even under Fergie, we had those results. Newcastle battered us. Chelsea's battered us. We've had those results. But what I saw on that pitch, no one even cared. No one tried. It's not fair. I'm sure there was some of them was trying. But no, I'm sure some of them may have been. But as a team, it was pathetic. Nobody, they weren't on that day. None of them were fit to wear that jersey, and it was like they'd gone out there, thought maybe either it's gonna be an easy game, or they just didn't care if we get top 4 or not because maybe I'm off in the summer, or whatever. Or some of them just not good enough to play for Man United. And obviously Gary Neville had his said his piece after the match, and he's right. He said there's a number of players who basically are just bad eggs, weeds in the dressing room that need to go. Because the reality is, and that's why I was never this Jose out. People always I want him to succeed, as I want any manager to succeed. But I was never this Jose out because I always said this Jose out phenomenon, this bandwagon. It's not simply Jose out. We want the manager to go. There's a different kind of rhetoric that comes with it. That it's his fault why the players are playing bad. And I'm like, yes, his tactics may not suit X, Y, Z. The football is not exciting. But at what point do we question the players? At what point do we say, all right, you don't like to play in this formation, you don't like to play these tactics, cool, but you're not the manager, so you have to do what is best for the team, regardless of who the manager is. Now, there's players like N'Golo Kante, who Chelsea fans, some will say, oh, he's playing the wrong position, some play the right position. Really, the position he's playing now is a position that he hasn't played in before. He doesn't play in that position for France. He hasn't played in that position for Chelsea under when Mourinho was there or Conte was there, as the role as a box-to-box midfielder. Even in the 2 when he was with Leicester, he didn't play that same box-to-box role. But whatever role he's asked to do, whether he's good enough for it or not, and majority of the time he is good enough to do it, you see him give the 100% all the time. And that's the minimum I ask for of Man United players, and that's the minimum that Man United fans ask for. So we can have all the tactics in the world, all the individual quality in the world, but if these players aren't willing to put in the effort at the minimum, especially when you're having a bad game, then you shouldn't be at the club. First half, Everton ran 4 kilometres more than Man United in the first half alone. Now, before Solskjaer came, I think we hadn't outrun a team in the Premier League outside, I think it was maybe Cardiff or whoever was bottom at the time.
It was Huddersfield.
It was Huddersfield. Everyone else had outrun us other than the bottom team. Huddersfield may have been. And that was embarrassing. Since then, we've outrun most teams. I haven't seen the statistics since the Paris Saint-Germain game, but the Paris Saint-Germain game away, after that, everything's fallen off. Now I think there's an aspect of tiredness in terms of these players aren't fit enough. They haven't been running before Solskjaer came. Now they've been forced to run for 3 months. And they can't hack it because it hasn't been ingrained in them. Some of these players aren't fit enough. Some of these players ain't good enough. Some of these players don't want to be here. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care who you are. And I'm not picking out any individual player because I don't know what David De Gea's personal issue, whether he wants to be at Man United or not. We know he's got a contract to sort out. I don't know Ander Herrera pretty much. It sounds like he's going to be gone. I don't know whether he wants to stay or he's like, well, I'm only going to stay if you pay me 200 grand a week. I don't know whether Pogba wants to go or not. We know he sounded out at Real Madrid. etc. I don't know what their personal thoughts are, but this goes to any of the Man United players. If you don't want to play for the club, you can go. I don't care how good you are. When Ferguson was there, we got rid of Beckham, we got rid of Stam, we got rid of Roy Keane, who was the club captain at the time. Middle of the season, got rid of him. It doesn't matter who you are. The club is always bigger than you, and the reality is, a lot of these people were hiding behind Jose Mourinho and his tactics and his antics, hiding behind Louis van Gaal's philosophy and his tactics, and hiding behind, to an extent, all them out saw here, but behind David Moyes and the results. Solskjaer will be here, will have the fans back longer than these players. They're not going to be able to get us to say Solskjaer out, Ole out. It's not going to happen, because there's only one legend at this club in terms of in the staff at the moment. That's Solskjaer. Pogba, Rashford, Martial, David De Gea, Smalling, Young, I don't care who it is, captain or no captain. We're not turning on Solskjaer. If the results aren't good and he has to go, he has to go. But we're not turning on him like some of them did against Jose Mourinho. So these players need to fix up or get out. It's as simple as. Half of them's going to be gone in the summer anyway. But the faith is in Solskjaer. He's going to have to prove whether he's good enough to do the job or not. But ain't nobody turning on him to back. I say nobody. It's going to be some. But the majority of Man United fans aren't turning on him to back Pogba, back Martial, back Rashford, Lukaku, Lingard, Herrera. I don't care who it is. Solskjaer's the man in the seat, and he is here. He said it in the press conference. I'm going to be successful at Man United. Who is going to be here with me? That's another matter. Some of them won't be, some of them won't be. That's all I got to say.
Damn.
What do you got to do?
That is stress. That is stress. I mean, only thing I have to say really on that is, I think Gary Neville. The thing is with Gary Neville, he has these outbursts every now and again at these certain things, and he sometimes tries to point out players. And I know Sky's trying to eke out who the players he was talking about.
Yeah.
He weren't really trying to let it go, but at the same time was trying to let it go by saying, the ones, the guys that are in,
if the shoe fits, wear it.
yeah, the guys that are, the guys that are in the newspapers, So, and I think we all know that players such as Paul Pogba, such as Martial, Rashford, and that, they've got talent. And if you look at that squad that on the team sheet going out in that Everton match, you think, I even saw the team at the start, I thought, damn, they're going with Pogba in a sort of more advanced role behind Lukaku with Rashford and Martial. That front four alone should be good enough to create more than one shot against Everton on target. Do you know what I mean? They should be able to do something. And there's only so much tactically Ole can do with that team to get them to perform at a certain level if they're not willing to put in the performances.
Yeah, the effort.
And some might say they down tools under Jose Mourinho because they didn't be the level that they should have done. And then when Ole came in, all of a sudden the results are coming in, and there's a momentum part to that. Obviously, whole momentum's changed, the mentality's changing that club. But then again, is it the fact that Ole's been given a new deal so that they're a bit more relaxed, so that they can take their time and just do what they want and are not given 100%? Because we're back to now seeing Manchester United is a bit lackadaisical, and as you said, one of the worst performances you may have seen at the club since Fergie left.
The only thing with the deal thing, I know people use it, but we had 2 terrible performances before the international break, before he actually got the deal. So I don't think the deal is what kind of sparked the. So it was Arsenal. I say terrible. Arsenal wasn't terrible, but we lost that game. The Wolves in the FA Cup, that was terrible. That was worse than the league game. So and then he got the deal after that, and then he came back for the international break. He came back to the international break with the deal. Won that game against Watford. It wasn't a great performance. So I don't think it was the deal that sparked it. There were. We scraped a win against Southampton the last minute before the PSG game, but so I would say that there were signs of that this team is not a title winning team. They were still having to do extra work to get the results against Southamptons and that kind of stuff. But definitely in the last few weeks, I think for me that's more a coincidence that it's just he's got the deal at the time when it's happened. That the results or the performances that have dropped in the way they have.
I think personally, personally. Yeah, you could say there's a few, maybe 3-4 players that aren't good enough to play for Manchester United.
It's more than that, bro. But go on. Trust me.
But I just think it's a bunch of players that they just honestly they just don't want to be there. And if you think about it, right, it's kind of the same thing. If you get a new job or a manager that your manager that you dislike, he leaves or he gets sacked and someone else comes in, for the first couple of weeks you're excited, you're pumped, or you're happy about your new role, and then after a couple of weeks you just slip back into your old habits or your old ways, whatever it may be, whether it's turning up 10 minutes late every day, or I don't know, going at lunch at a certain time and coming back a bit late from your lunch, but you know they're cool with it. You just slip back into your normal routine. I just feel that it's the same for these players. They didn't want to play under Mourinho, and some of them probably didn't want to play for Manchester United, full stop. He got sacked. Some of them may have been a bit happy that the manager's gone. Ole comes in and they're thinking, right, fresh start, new manager. They're a bit excited, get some results under their belt, and then after a couple of weeks they're like, okay, we're accustomed to it, and we just slip back into our normal selves, slip back into our old mentality. I don't really want to be here, because if you think about it, Ole brought them back into fighting for top 4.
Yeah.
Well, they're well out of it.
No chance.
You should now have even more extra motivation to even play even better to get into top 4. They've lost all that motivation.
If you're going to be there next year. If you feel you're going to be there next year.
To suddenly just lose all that motivation and not care about getting in top 4, they obviously don't want to be there. They honestly, they just don't want to play for Manchester United. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and well, good riddance. Listen, I have no issue. I don't care how good you are. If you don't want to play for Man United, goodbye. Why are we hanging on for? For what reason? Listen, worse clubs have sold players who are more important for them because the player wanted to go. And you take West Ham, Dimitri Payet, best player by a mile. But at the point came where he was like, he wants to go. Performances dropped off. They had to sell him. That's just the way of the world. You have to get rid. Neymar pushed for his move against Barcelona. Obviously, it was his release clause that had to be activated. He went. Coutinho clearly wanted to go to Barcelona from Liverpool. He went.
Mahrez and Kante.
Huh? Yeah, Mahrez, Kante, they wanted to leave, and they went. So I'm not here to be hanging on to players because they're good. If Man United have to be out of the Champions League for a couple of years to get back to where we were, so be it. We're not hanging on to players who are then going to hold the club to ransom.
I thought you had them 2 years out already.
Well, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. In that time, we've had 3 managers. Well, say in the last 6 years, we have 3 managers. So it's like chopping and changing the manager is not what's going to change. Some of those players, quality-wise, they've been there since Ferguson. Jones, Smalling, Young. Obviously, Valencia has been dropped since pretty much the whole season. Darmian, Rojo,
David De Gea.
Yeah, I don't know about that. but again, if David De Gea doesn't want to be here, David De Gea can go. I don't care if Herrera, as much energy he shows on the pitch and the badge and all that, and if he doesn't want to be here, he can go. So there's players that need to go because they don't want to be here, and there's players that need to go because they're crap. Ashley Young, I think he wants to be here, but he's crap, so he's got to go. So there's a lot that needs to happen at Man United in the summer. No player should hold Manchester United to ransom. No player should hold any club full stop to ransom, let alone Manchester United. So again, as I say, they don't want to be here. They're saying, "I want 300,000." You decide what your value is on the player, how much they're worth to you financially, whatever. I think that Sanchez wages threw everything out of kilter because he's on 400,000 a week. So every player's like, well, Sanchez. His wages threw everything out of kilter.
Use that. That's a lot of money, man.
So every player now is like, well, if he's on 400,000 a week and he doesn't even play, I'm your best keeper, I'm your best midfielder, I'm your best striker, I should be getting that. You gotta say, scrap that. Listen, that was an anomaly. He's gonna be gone, maybe, whatever. When you said to players that they have, this is our value to you. This is what we're offering you. Take it or leave it. Leave it. Bye. That's it. Simple as. Not come pandering to these other players.
David De Gea wants to go.
Then David De Gea has to go. Oh, Carl, the reality.
Oh,
David De Gea is so.
He's supposed to be the best keeper in the world.
Yes, he is. But David De Gea.
Can't replace him with a better keeper.
David De Gea is so important to us because our defense is crap. We shouldn't need the best keeper in the world to win stuff. Because
no, but it's nice to have the best
of
keeper
course
in the
it
world.
is. But then look at the Man United, the Barcelona teams in the late in 2000 eras. Liverpool at the moment, Man City at the moment, they've got top quality keepers. Not the best in the world, you might say. Some might say they are, some might say they're not. But the keeper is having to do half the amount of work David De Gea does. So if you're having to say, you know what, all right, David has to go, we get, God knows, we'll get a lot of money for him if we're to sell him. To strengthen your defence, so that as long as you get a quality goalkeeper, you're still going to concede less goals because he's not going to have him to do the work David De Gea does. You can't be pandering to these. All right, we're going to blow the budget on David De Gea, but can't afford no defenders. So then now David De Gea has to do the work of 5 men. No, it's not. There's no point doing that. There's no point doing that. If David De Gea wants to go, David, let's go. Simple as. I don't care. And there's quality. Listen, our second choice keeper Romero, he doesn't really put. I'm not saying he pulls out the same worldies that David De Gea does, but he doesn't really make mistakes when he plays. So if you have to say Romero go in there and we get a 75 million centre back from Liverpool called Van Dijk,
we all know that's never.
he's living in Solskjaer's house, so he might be able to swing a deal.
Wait, is he actually?
Yeah, renting.
Oh,
yeah. Solskjaer's kicking him out though.
See, listen.
In the summer, unless he comes.
If you don't join us,
you're homeless.
Is he actually living there?
Yeah, he's renting Solskjaer, one of Solskjaer's house. But Solskjaer's gonna move in there in the summer, I think. So. You better find a new place.
Damn.